boys and girls. Sammy and I are back again to share with you another story. Today, we have a story called The Parable of the Lily. But in this story, the story begins with a mysterious gift left by a door on a very cold and gray wintry day. And it ends one spring morning with a very happy discovery. A little girl's father gives her a gift that helps her understand the true meaning of Easter. Yes, Easter is coming. And a lot of people think that Easter is all about the Easter Bunny, but that's not really quite the way it is. Easter Bunny is about a gift from God and about being forgiven. So, let's read our story about our little girl. Yeah, are you reading it? No. Let's stay up here so I can read, okay? You kind of follow along with me, okay, Sammy? One wintry day, the farmer's young daughter shuffled through the snow, headed for the mailbox at the end of the lane. Brrr, it was cold. Oh, yes, it was so cold. She peered inside the mailbox and found a small white envelope. It was a surprise. It was addressed to her. It said, "Dear Maggie," the letter began, "I'm sending a very special gift just for you. Look for it soon." Yep, she was excited. She was. She didn't get much mail. Maggie loved getting presents, especially a gift from as mysterious as this one. When would it come? I don't know either. Who was it from and what would it be? Well, all gifts come from God eventually, or originally, I guess. So the farmer's daughter waited and waited. Some days she waited patiently, some days not so patiently. Then, one very ordinary afternoon, a box appeared on her doorstep. The farmer watched as his little daughter excitedly tore off the wrapping paper. He was eager to see what she thought of her present. But Maggie didn't say a word. She just stared at the small wooden crate full of dirt. Dirt was not at all what Maggie hoped for. No. Sometimes we have too much dirt as it is, don't we? Yeah. We don't need a present of more dirt. Poking out of the soil was a little small piece of paper that told Maggie how to care for her gift. What does it say, Sammy? Can you read it? Yeah, Sammy says, "Hide in a cool, dark place. Water as needed. When spring comes, bring into the light." So she's got to wait for her present, doesn't she? Yeah. She knew it must be a growing thing, like a bulb that would someday bloom into a plant. Oh dear, her long-awaited gift wasn't a toy or a doll or a game after all. The farmer could see that his daughter was very disappointed. His heart grew sad. Yeah, Sammy figured it out. The gift was from her father. With a sigh, Maggie carried the wooden box down the steps into the darkest corner of the cellar and left it there on a shelf. Sometimes she remembered to water it, but most of the time, Maggie just plain forgot. The farmer did not forget. He just waited and watched. And the farmer remembered something that he'd read in the Bible. It said, "Wait until the Lord comes. He will bring light to things that are now hidden in darkness." Does that sound like the bulb? Yep. Well, spring came at last. Yay! The air was warmer, and the gray skies had melted into a robin's egg blue. What a welcome sight the sun was. It was time for the farmer to hoe his garden, getting the soil ready for seeds that filled his pockets. Maggie wanted to help, so she marched down the cellar steps to get her own Maggie-sized garden tools. That's when it happened. Oh my. Searching for her toolbox, in the darkest corner of the cellar, Maggie knocked the forgotten crate of dirt off the shelf. Crash! Oh. The crate splintered into pieces. Soil was everywhere, and the flower bulb that rolled to her feet showed no signs of life. Oh no. What do you think Maggie did? What a mess. Maggie was mad at the box and even madder at herself. She swept up the dirt and threw away the broken box, grumbling under her breath. You know how you grumble, well, I didn't want to do this. And that ugly old flower bulb, she tossed it out the cellar door, never to think of it again. Oh my, she threw it away. But one day, after many, many days, Maggie had forgotten all about the bulbs. So Maggie woke up earlier than usual on Easter morning. Yeah, it's finally Easter. A warm breeze blew through her bedroom window, and the chirping birds seemed to call her name. Getting up on Easter morning's kind of exciting, isn't it? I bet some of you have Easter baskets, or some of you go on egg hunts. Well, Maggie just got up to look around. Still dressed in her nightgown, Maggie tiptoed out into the garden. She was hoping to find some daffodils or tulips to decorate the table for Easter breakfast. That's when she saw it. Yeah! The loveliest lily that God ever made was blooming on the edge of her father's flower garden. Its white petals unfolded like a trumpet. Its leaves were green with new life. Its scent was as fragrant as the most expensive perfume. Maggie knew all at once what had happened. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry or shout with joy. So Maggie did all three at once. Wake up, everybody, wake up. Come see. The gift is alive. Her family hurried out to the garden. They couldn't believe their eyes. So much beauty from just such an ugly box of dirt. Maggie noticed the farmer standing in the doorway quietly watching. His smile gave away his secret. Father, it was you who gave me the lily. Maggie squealed with delight. Suddenly, her little girl's smile began to fade. Oh dear. She'd thrown away her father's gift without so much as a thank you. That must have hurt him a lot. So Maggie said, I'm sorry, Daddy, putting her little arms around his big waist. Will you forgive me? Will he? I think so. Oh, my child, the farmer whispered, hugging her tight. That's what Easter is all about. And the Bible says one more thing that the father remembered and told the little girl about. This is how God showed his love to us. He sent his only son into the world to give us life through him. I don't know about you, boys and girls, but I kind of like that story. It reminds me of all the joy of Easter and finding new life. Can you remember any other story where one of God's gifts kind of got thrown out and then on Easter morning was found alive again? Yep, that's it. Sammy says there's a story about Easter and Jesus that's like that. Jesus came into the world in the winter when it was cold. And as he grew up, everybody kind of forgot about him. They ignored him. And when it was his time to be the real gift that God wanted, to go out and preach the word and tell people how to live, people got mad because sometimes it was messy and sometimes he said things they didn't want to hear. And eventually, people got mad at him. And they kind of threw him out like Maggie threw the bulb out. They put him to die on a cross. But just like the lily that got thrown into the dirt in the garden, Jesus came back to life. And he got out of the tomb and he lived, and the disciples were happy again. So that's why we celebrate Easter. And Easter lilies remind us of this story because they bloom at Easter and they lay dormant and they're forgotten and buried. And then on Easter, they spring up and bloom. So you remember that. Remember Maggie's lily and remember the story of Jesus. Till next time, boys and girls. Bye.